AI is making more and more decisions that are shaping our lives, right? From what movies we should watch to how a self-driving car navigates a busy street. But here's the thing. How can we actually trust those decisions if we don't have a clue how they're made? That's the huge question at the heart of a really cool field called Explainable AI, or XAI. And it's all about prying open that black box.
So picture this. You apply for a really important loan, maybe for a house or a small business, and an automated system just says, nope, rejected. You're left standing there wondering, but why? Was it my credit score? My income? Something I'm not even aware of? This isn't some far-off sci-fi scenario. It's happening right now, and it really gets to the heart of why we need this clarity.
And the reason we're so often left in the dark is because a lot of these advanced AI models are what everyone calls a black box. We can feed it data on one side and we get a decision out the other, but that whole messy, complicated process in the middle, the how it got there, is often a complete mystery. And here's the crazy part. Sometimes it's a mystery even to the people who designed it.
But what if we could actually shine a light inside that box? Well, that's precisely the goal of Explainable AI, or XAI for short. It's this whole field dedicated to pulling back the curtain and making AI transparent and, well, understandable. So what is it, really? You can think of XAI as a whole toolkit of methods and approaches that are designed to translate those super complex AI decisions into a language that we humans can actually get our heads around. It's not about making the AI dumber, it's about making its intelligence accessible to us.
And here is the difference in a nutshell. A traditional black box AI, on the left, it just gives you the answer. Yes, no, that's a cat. But an explainable AI on the right, well, it gives you the answer and it shows its work. It points to the exact reasons why it came to that conclusion.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds nice, but is it really that big of a deal? And the answer is yes. As AI gets woven into really high-stakes areas like medicine and finance, being able to explain a decision goes from being a cool feature to an absolute necessity.
So why is it so necessary? Well, it really breaks down into a few key things. First off, there's trust. Simple as that. We're just not going to rely on systems we can't understand. But it's deeper than that. Explainability lets us check for fairness. We can peek inside to make sure the AI isn't using some weird biased logic. It creates accountability, and maybe most importantly, it helps us humans work with AI to make smarter decisions.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. In a world that's increasingly run by algorithms, knowing the why isn't just some academic exercise. It is absolutely essential for building a future with AI that's both responsible and effective.
Okay, so how does this actually work? How does XAI pop the hood and show us what's going on? Well, it turns out there's no single magic key. The way you do it really depends on just how complex the AI model is in the first place. For some of the simpler models, the explanation is literally baked right into the design. A great example is a decision tree. Its entire structure is just a flowchart of simple if-then questions that are super easy to follow. It's not a black box at all. You could call it a transparent box.
For example, here's a decision tree that was trained on data from the Titanic disaster. To figure out if someone survived, it just walks you down a path. Step 1. Is the passenger male? Yes. Okay. Step 2. Is their age over 9.5? Yes. Okay. Step 3. Do they have more than 2.5 siblings or spouses on board? No. Result, the model predicts they did not survive. See? We can trace every single step of its logic.
But that's the easy stuff. What about those mind-bendingly complex models, like the deep neural networks behind a lot of modern AI? For those, we need more of a detective's toolkit. We use special methods after the decision is already made to kind of interrogate the model. Two of the most famous tools are called LIME and SHAP. You can think of them as a way to poke the model and ask, hey, I see your answer, but what if this one little thing was different? How would that change your mind? By asking those what-if questions again and again, they start to map out the model's internal logic.
Let's just zoom in on SHAP for a second, because it uses this really brilliant analogy. Imagine every piece of info you give the AI, your income, your age, where you live, is a player in a giant game of tug-of-war. Some things, like a high income, are pulling the rope really hard towards the approve loan side. Other things, maybe a low credit score, are pulling just as hard towards deny. What SHAP does is measure the exact force of each and every pull, showing us exactly which factors had the biggest impact on that final decision.
And this isn't just theory or something stuck in a research lab. XAI is already out there in the real world, being used in some really critical industries to make a genuine impact.
I mean, just think about what this means. In finance, it can tell a bank exactly why someone's loan was denied, which is huge for fair lending. In healthcare, it can highlight the parts of a CT scan that made an AI flag a tumor, giving a doctor more confidence. For a self-driving car, it can explain why it suddenly swerved, which is obviously critical for safety and improvement. And in HR, it can help companies audit their hiring AIs to make sure they're not accidentally filtering out great candidates because of some hidden bias.
So when you put it all together, you realize XAI is so much more than just a set of technical tools. It's really the bridge. It's the bridge that builds communication and, most importantly, trust between these incredibly powerful technologies and the humans who rely on them every day.
And this all brings us to one last really big question we have to grapple with. As these AI systems get more and more powerful and more integrated into every corner of our society, what does it truly mean for one of these systems to be responsible? Thanks to Explainability, that's a conversation that's no longer just for the engineers. It's a conversation for all of us.